you are under stress. So your personality has a way of also impacting on your stress response. Okay. If nobody has a question, maybe I'll go on now to talk about some of the ways we can manage it.
Yes, please. Let's go ahead.
All right, so that we can just go when the time is. All right. So if you think about managing stress, think about what we call the 4 A's. You can either change the situation or change your reaction. That's what we've spoken about it. So you can avoid the 4 A's. You can alter, you can adapt to the stress, or you can accept it. For example, the death of a loved one, you can't do anything about it. It has happened. You just need somebody or people around you to accept it. Avoid the stress. If it is somebody, if it's a friend, when I was growing as a young lady or a young married lady, I try to avoid other couples who would want you to feel that you were missing something. And today my husband has bought me clothes. Tomorrow it is a jewelry. It is this. It's stressful. So if you also can't avoid it, you can adapt. For example, where I live, there's a lot of traffic to go to work. So if I can't avoid it by leaving my house very early, I adapt to the stressor by trying to listen to an audio book, preaching whilst on the way to work. That way, that traffic will not stress me. So remember the 4 A's. You can try to avoid the stress, alter it, adapt to it, or accept it. Your reaction, if you have to accept the death of a loved one and you're struggling, yes, you have to go through the mourning, but you're struggling, at the end of the day, it can become stressful. So the 4 A's are very important. Another thing, avoid what we call maladaptive coping strategies, where now you have negative self-talk. I'm not good enough. It is me. I did it. You are blaming yourself. I hate myself. Yes, I'm ugly. That is why the person did this to me. I'm dumb. That is why this happened to me. You just decide that I just want to forget everything. Then you take to alcohol. You are resentful. You are hateful. And then another thing is what we call learned helplessness. I can't help myself anymore. Like the man at the well who was sitting there, Jesus came and he kept complaining. Anytime I want to jump into the well, somebody comes and goes in. At that stage, you get into what we call learned helplessness. You're waiting for somebody to help you. So these are bad coping strategies. Okay? And I talk about the good ones. The good ones, you use what we call problem-focused coping. Problem focus. So, for example, if it is work in the house that is too much, then you sit down as a couple and see who can help who, or you assign tasks to the children. If it's at work, you delegate tasks, you share responsibilities, you seek help, professional help. If you are in a church, of course, you don't carry your problems to everybody, but seek a godly counsel, okay, or social support. Maybe women, you come together, and maybe now in Ghana, people do it a lot, and I still do it with a group. Even on telephone, you pray. You share ideas, but not a group, like I said, that will make you now feel that you are inferior. You seek information on how to deal with the stress. Okay? Emotion-focused coping, relaxation. Reframing your mind. Okay? If things have entered into your mind where you think that I am not good enough, try to reframe. Take care of yourself. Exercise. I'm sorry to say this, but it looks like for most of us, exercise is not in our books. But exercise has a way of really helping you. And relaxation is key. Right? Relaxation is key. Realistic expectations is another way you can cope with stress. No matter how many days I pray, I cannot become Queen Elizabeth. So sometimes the targets and the goals we set for ourselves, you can't afford a car now. You want to go ahead and get it. These are things that can bring stress in your life. Realistic expectations and goals and outcomes. All right? Very important. And then I talk a little bit more about relaxation. What is it? A state of being free from tension and anxiety. You are trying to restore equilibrium. Even if you can't go on the street or the road to exercise, make sure that you get time to relax. The same way when you are stressed, your body responds to it. When you are relaxed, your body also responds to the relaxation. For example, adrenaline decreases a lot. That is the action hormone that makes you want to be afraid and run away. It decreases when you are relaxed, okay? So the endorphin levels increase. That is the pain relieving hormones. It also increases. Then the happiness hormones also increase when you are relaxed. So, and your immune function, especially in these times that we live in, make sure that stress does not come to compromise your system. If we all would have loved to put our cameras on, would have done a little bit of what we call progressive muscle relaxation with our techniques, and one of them is what we call progressive muscle relaxation. So you contract a muscle, hold it for a while, like 6 seconds, release it, and relax and breathe in. Do we want to try?
Yes, please. I would like to try, because in fact, I want to handle my stress so I can relax.
You cannot just try it. All right. So for example, the one that is very funny is the one you do with your face.
Put on your camera. Please try and let's do it.
Hello. So that, don't laugh at me, because we all have to do it. And so like your face. If it's your face you want to relax, and I have seen people say that it helps to keep you young, okay? So for example, you squeeze your face very hard, the muscles in your face, close your eyes, and squeeze it very hard for like count up to 6 and release it. So let's try the face one. So you squeeze it very hard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you release it. Okay, you can do the same way for your face. Your arms, so you stretch your hand like this, squeeze it very hard, tense it. So you are teaching your body how to relax and tense. Breathe in and release it. Your shoulders also, squeeze them very hard. Breathe in and release it. The best way sometimes is just you are lying down and you do progressively from your toes up to your head and relax yourself. Okay, so this is one of the ways. And if, for example, you are at work also, you can do your stretching exercises. Okay, you don't sit down the whole time. Stretch. Then our mothers used to say that it's lazy people who stretch. But as of now, I've learned after years of doing psychology that stretching is very important. So the first thing I do when I get up from bed is to stretch. So stretching is actually a way to relax, and it's very, very important. If you like the greenery, go and get some green, sit down, watch in the woods. If you like the sunshine, just sit down and watch the moon. If you like the sea, just sit down and do something with that. And then also, if you have some dream, you want to buy a Bugatti, sit down and meditate on your Bugatti. It has a way of making you relax. But then the last thing I want to say, and then I hand over because I know the time is also almost there, then we can ask questions, is meditation. Meditation. The conscious mental method of allowing your mind, okay, to focus on a single thought. I know I can make it. No matter what comes my way, I am a child of God. And you keep meditating on the word of God. I leave you with some scriptures. For example, Philippians 6:7 says, be anxious for nothing, but in all things with prayer and supplication. All things, so it means that the stresses, add them to God. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. All your heart means that everything that is troubling you in there, all right? Trust in the Lord. Lean not on your own understanding. As you strive for excellence, know that in trying to find excellence, don't try to always be imperfect. Try to find peace with things that cannot be perfect. Okay? Pray for patience and practice patience. It's something. And then I also say pray for the spirit of contentment. Contentment with godliness is great gain. Sometimes our stress comes from we being not content with what we have. I'm not saying be satisfied and stay there. But wherever you are now, be content. In striving for more and being unrealistic about your goals, you put stress on yourself. So I'll just end here so that maybe some questions will come and then I can answer if I've left anything out. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I can see Zerubbabel is waving his hands. That is good. We thank God. Thank you so much. In fact, this is very in-depth. Wow, I've learned a lot of technical words a lot today. This is great. But then I'm asking our audience to come with their questions. I don't know whether they are shy. Please, if you can't ask, you can type it. I will ask for you. Or if you want, you can just unmute your microphone and just ask your question. So it's time for questions.
Doc, I have a question.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Okay, so for me, I have baby stress. Like, wherever I am, so far as I see a baby crying or I hear babies crying, I get brain freeze. I forget. I don't even know how to calculate 1 plus 1. So, like, in this case, like, when something like that happens and I'm outside, how do I cope with that kind of stress?
Okay.
Can it be? Because sometimes I need to, you need to know more about the situation before you can give what I call an intelligent answer. But I'll answer it as could it be that there's a trauma somewhere that you are not aware of? Because ordinarily, babies crying should not give you some kind of anxiety. Is there a trauma somewhere? For example, if you've had, which I've had this experience, I was on a highway one time, our usual highway somewhere in Ghana, and somebody hit me at my back. So months after, if I'm still driving and I see a car that has a semblance to that kind of car, then my heart begins to pound as if that car is on. I'm looking at my back to see, will this car stop? To the extent that sometimes I park my car and say, come and pass and go. So it may be a trauma somewhere unconscious that you're not aware of. Okay, so if you want to think about the 4 A's, can you help me? You answer it yourself. What will you do about this kind of stress if you want to? Will you want to alter it, adapt to the stress, accept it, or avoid it? You can't avoid babies crying when you're around. But I would advise that you seek professional help. Okay, let somebody talk to somebody. We call it the emotional journey. Sometimes somebody will see somebody who looks like a stepmother who maltreated them. They see every short woman just like a stepmother and they are annoyed or they are frightened. Okay, so I cannot answer this, without the background information. So maybe later on, if there is further need for help, yeah.
Yes, thank you very much. Sister Victoria wants to ask a question. Sister Victoria, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mama. God bless you for this in-depth knowledge that you are giving to us this evening. I have a question, and I don't know if it's a question or it's a contribution, but I think it's a question. Personally, I'm speaking from my personal point of view. I have 2 kids. The first one is 7, going on to 8, and the second one is just a baby. I am going through a stressful time in my life, and I don't know if it's stress, but I'm sure it's stress because when I come back from work, I started work when he was 3 months, my baby, and I have a very helpful husband, very, very helpful husband. But I think, and I've been realizing of late that I am a very meticulous person, but within this short period, things are overwhelming me in my house. Whenever I come back from work, sometimes, and I see things, around, I get so stressed that I have to sit down for some time and think thoroughly of where to start from. Because I always want things to be accordingly, the way I want it to be, things in the kitchen, the bathroom, the hall. And my husband is always saying that, relax, just sit down, rest. We are in our own house. Nobody's coming around here and all that. But I don't feel good because I didn't start from that. I didn't start my life with this. And between the first child and the second child is a long gap. So I'm behaving as if I'm going mad or something. Is this called distress or normal stress, or how do I go about it? How do I start? Please.
If it's affecting an aspect of your life, like I call the spillover, okay? If you are not getting any of the 4 things, it affects your behavior, your mind, everything. if it's affecting an aspect of your life, there is a conflict. Every time there is conflict in Tokwa. So this phrase I said at the end is for you. As you strive for excellence, learn to make peace with imperfection. And your husband is right. I do have the same problem because I'm somebody who also likes things done in a particular way. And for such temperaments or personality types, you'll be very stressed. Sometimes close your eyes and let that thing be. Leave the place untidy. Sometimes do it. Okay, so you have to learn how to accept. Let the small stuff be small stuff. Because let me say this. Your in basket, that means the things you have to do, it will not be empty by the time God calls you. There will still be something that you left undone when he calls you or when rapture comes. So why are we striving to do everything? So sometimes let go. Because your life is more important than all the things. I tell people at work, if you die today at work, they will employ somebody else. Okay? So sometimes let go.
Lisa, what do you call it? I want to ask something again concerning this same issue. Growing up, once we're kids, and I'm from a Christian home, so we believe that, or my auntie who brought us up was always tells us that before you sleep, make sure your surrounding is clean. Make sure your surrounding is clean because after we pray and we sleep, angels will come around. And angels come around, they find out your place is very untidy because godliness is next to cleanliness is next to godliness. The angels will not even stay; they'll go. So I always want to see my rooms, my hall, everywhere tidy before I sleep, and it makes me so tired, so stressed. Please, can you tell me something about this, or can you give me something positive to do if it's really true? I have to keep my rooms tidy before I sleep, or just let it go as you have said.
So you have to reframe. One of the things I mentioned was reframing. Reframing. Otherwise, you have what we call cognitive dissonance. What your values are, what you believe, is affecting you now. The question I want to ask you is that the poor man is a friend of God. The one sleeping on the street and near the garbage can is a friend of God. Does it mean God will not send angels to minister to that person?
I'm sure he will.
That is the point. Does it mean that in a place where, if, for example, somebody is driving and the person falls into a ditch and in a gutter, and the person prays to God, God will say the angels don't go to gutter. They are ministering spirits and they've been sent to minister. The only thing I know of the Bible is that it says he gives his angels charge concerning us. It doesn't say concerning us when we are in a clean place. So I think that one too, you have to reframe your mind. It's not true. Yes. I can only say that. Because I believe when I'm on the toilet bowl, he is there with me.
Yes. Thank you, Ma. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I also have a similar experience. In fact, it was just yesterday night. My wife and I and our firstborn we have to handle some of this stress at home. The accusation is that when we enter home, we go out and we come. The first thing, instead of coming with a smiling, we enter with a smiling, but the next seconds we change and we become lions. And we keep, giving out instruction. Why is the, jacket lying here in the middle of the road? And why is your back not at the right place? And why this? And then we stress everybody. And so the foreign info you are addressing, this is a major issue. I don't know if my wife can speak, but it was just yesterday we had to deal with this. In fact, my son is saying that, look, in fact, we don't consider their feeling. We don't look at what makes them happy. All we want is that we want everything to be in order. And when we come, we don't care. We just, shout the instruction, give the command, and then we stress everybody. So, in fact, when they are coming home, maybe they are coming home with stress. So, what do we do?
Yeah, what do we do? Because I was just also listening to, and I was like, oh God. That's what we experienced at the Victoria is saying it. Like, you come home as a mother, you want to have your things, orderly, and I've been teaching you things since you were babies. Why are you not keeping this one thing? Like, when you come, just hang your jacket. No, they won't hang it. They'll put it at a particular place, and I have to say it. And Ken was saying that maybe we have stress at work, and I say I don't have stress at work. I mean, I come home, but the moment I open my door and I see things that not the way they're supposed to be, something just take over me and I can't control it. So how do I reframe my mind to live in an unorganized, like you are telling us, like sometimes we need to live in imperfection so that we can have peace? That's my question, please.
With the issue of the case, I wouldn't say that I also do not experience this. It's a difficult thing because sometimes you instruct them and they do the opposite. But I've come to the stage where I say, look, my life and my health is more important than anything else. So sometimes most of the times now, I just want to let go. I just want to, if you have given them the reason why it must not be so, and it's always so, and we've come to the stage where we can't cane them, especially at a certain stage. You can only speak to them and let them see the wisdom in doing what they have to do. But when it's not happening, you just let go. You just let go. So you give them their corner, so that if it is dirty, it is their corner is dirty. You don't go there and have some peace in your life. So that if it is their corner, let it stay there, and that's it. Because the times where our parents would take a cane and will fight and then struggle, and you see, there's a difference between discipline and punishment. In discipline, you are trying to let the child, positive discipline, let the child learn a new behavior. If you try reward, if you try reasoning, telling them the reason and it's not working, punishment may not work either. Punishment is inflicting pain. When you inflict pain, the child tends to now hate you rather. They rebel. The next chance they get and they are not under your instruction is rebellion. So let us distinguish also between discipline and punishment. Are we doing the disciplining well, positive disciplining? Then we will get the results right. But maybe you started with just punishment. Do this. If you don't do, I cane you, I shout at. If it's not working, change the style and see if it will work. So I tell my kids, there was one thing I told them to do. I was here with them alone back home, and I had to show them how to open the door. So sometimes you can also use fear. You have to use it also, apply it with some wisdom. One child refuses to drink water, and he's constipating. So I opened YouTube and showed him Pulse, and how Pulse is and how painful it is. Since then, he started drinking water. Or I tell them, don't go and put on the gas without me. Reason, you can burn the place. So sometimes a little bit of fear also helps for them to know, if you leave this thing on the way, mommy can fall down. I'm here with you alone. If I fall down, I get hurt. Who takes care of you? So discipline is teaching them something, some wisdom, not punishment. Let me rest my case here.
Thank you. There are two questions coming. One from Sister Hilary, one from Minister KB. So let me go first with ladies first. Let me give the lady the opportunity. Then we'll come to Mr. KB. So please, Hilary, can go ahead.
No, it was kind of like an experience that I had concerning the issue you raised about the jackets and stuff. Because when I was a child, I used to put everything anywhere, and one day my auntie got fed up and she sat me down and she told me one-on-one that she's also a very lazy person, but then the best way to be neat and to be lazy at the same time is that when you take something, you put it back where you took it from. That way you don't really have to stress putting it back or stress doing it all the time. And it's a practice. You do it one step at a time. So as you keep on doing it, it becomes a part of you. But in a way, I think I overdid it so much that I got to a point I had OCD that if it's not aligned in a particular direction, I get stressed and I'm like, no, it has to be this way, it has to be that way. It got to a point that if I do not clean my room or if my room is not extra neat, I cannot sleep, and I become stressed and distressed all over. So it took a while for me to get used to certain things. So at that stage, you don't know what you have or
what you are doing. It's just like an eye opener. You just have to open their eyes to see that, okay, just do it this way. That way you don't really have to stress in doing it later. Because as a teenager, you don't want to do anything that will stress you. So just like that.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Minister KB, please, you can go ahead with your question.
I want to ask Mama this. Well, growing up becomes stress, give you stress, you know. When you're growing up, you get to marry, you get children, work is also part, and those things gives you stress. But you as a person, you know, when you're growing, sometimes you look in the mirror and you can see that now you are growing some gray, you know, and all those kind of things. Then you begin to wonder, hey, I'm growing, you know. And sometimes, me, for instance, I look in the mirror and sometimes I don't even want to look, you know. And I don't know if it is stress or not. I just want to find out.
So is it a growing that is frightening you?
I think so. If that is the way, you know, and then you've not got into the, you know, that the where you want to get to, you know, you're still fighting, and you get that sometimes, and your feet is hurting, and it is like saying in your head, hey, you can see you are growing, you know, and all those kind of things. I don't know if I'm asking the right question at the right time, but it gives me stress, you know. It gives me some kind of...
Is it fear? Fear that maybe you have not prepared your aging well, you maybe kids are young, so you are thinking, is it fear of tomorrow?
Yeah, I think so. No, I don't think so. Yeah.
It's inevitable. I mean, we all go through it, and I can't say I'm an exception. But like I said, at the end of the thing, I said something that meditating on the word of God and letting it be a part of you, that he says he knows the thoughts he has towards you, thoughts of good and not of evil, to give you a future and a hope. Okay? And the number of your days are in his hands. He's the God of the times, he's the God of the times and the seasons. And he says, if even the birds, they don't sow, they don't do anything, he's able to take care of them. How much more me? Apart from you meditating on the word of God, then start putting in place plans. Okay? Take particular decisions towards the things that you are uncertain about. Start setting goals. I call it building capacity. Building capacity for tomorrow. So if it's a little investment here, if it's making sure that you know, the kids have to go this direction, ask God for wisdom. Because the kids, we are just guardians of the kids, and we are stewards. He is in charge. For all you know, your child is not supposed to go to the university. He's supposed to be in a particular field. If you don't trust God to know, you'll be striving to pay university fees. So apart from anything else, try and also work and with God how the house should be, the future of the children, the destiny of the children. That is the only thing we can do as Christians. But as for life struggles, we all go through it, and we stand in the mirror and say, hey, I'm aging, I'm growing old, and this person is depending on me. But if we want to think about the world we are in now, you'll be under stress. You'll be under stress. So appreciate your aging and know that some even went younger than you. Every day is a
one more question.
Yes.
Please, if one person with stress is coming to you with her own stress, you know, how to deal with it, you know, because sometimes it becomes so much that I can't bear it any longer, you know, and I don't know how to go about. I don't know what to say to calm her down, or to let her feel that it's okay, just relax, everything will be fine, you know, and you know, everything is, everywhere is loud, and you are trying to just keep temper down. And I want to find out if there are some tips for the opposite side to help to calm tempers down, please?
Even we as psychologists trained to counsel, sometimes we get overwhelmed. So you have to look for a place to trash out these things. There's been a time that I had to do trauma counseling for children. I come home and you cry because you see so much trauma. We call it emotional labor. Emotional labor can kill. Okay, where instead of every time you are under stress, you are seeing things that are sad and your heart is burdened. So if you can't avoid that person, and the person is somebody you have to deal with, the only thing I can advise is that if you are not a professional, where you know, okay, you work with the person, this is the thing, we'll do this. If it's financial help you can't give, you can't take all the burdens. Only Christ can carry it. So in this case, me, I tell the person, I also look up to the higher man out there. That is my God, and that is Christ. So I will lead you to God, the place where I tap from. If you want to carry it, you can't. You are taking the place of Christ in the person's life. So introduce the person to God. If you can't provide the latent functions, you can't do. The manifest is the money. Money, I can't do it. Psychological, I can't provide you. Let us all go to God. In fact, that's what pastors do. Can you imagine what they go through? That's what they do. They take it back to God. So I advise you not to carry it too much. You will be overloaded. You'll be overloaded. And to affect your family, your spouse, your work, everything. You'll be overloaded.
Thank you very much. Brother Philip wants to ask a question. So please, Brother Philip, you can unmute and you can ask your question.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Dodo. I think my question has to do with, I think once you are privileged this evening to learn about stress, how can we also offer maybe certain basic help or support, probably to friends or family who we are also privileged to meet? What are some of the basic ways, some of the basic things that you can also share with others when they are also going through stress?
It depends on what you want to use. So if you are not a professional, where maybe you have a way of dealing with, you call it you're a Rogerian. If you're a Rogerian in terms of you're a professional psychologist or a counselor, it means that you believe that everybody has in themselves the ability to solve their own problems. So you come from the stage where you are guiding them to the solution. If you're not a professional and you can't go through some of these ways of guiding people to solve their own problems, then I would say that if you're a Christian, again, I go back to the Bible. Because if you can't provide the physical help for the person, you can't carry the person along with you yourself, you are burdened. The only way, I say, is to introduce them to God, pray with them. The Bible has a certain way of, the righteous is as bold as a lion, has a certain way of helping you to overcome certain things, even in bereavement. When somebody is bereaved or has lost a loved one, when you go, sometimes you keep quiet. If you don't keep quiet and you want to say something, the best is to start from the religious aspect. That's the only one that provides the answer. But otherwise, you open your mouth, you don't take care. You say something that will rather aggravate the person's problem. But you just comfort the person. That's all. You empathize. Empathizing first means that putting yourself in the person's shoes. What is the person feeling? What may the person be feeling? If I am feeling this way, what would I do? If you start from that angle, you can provide at least the initial answers to the person. Then you go ahead and say, what would Jesus do in this situation? If you think about it, it means that you go back to the Bible and see what Jesus would do. Then you do it. So you start from first empathizing, having compassion and empathizing. Put yourself in the person's shoes. If you were in the person's shoes, what will you do? Then you can advise the person, comfort the person, or then move the person on to Christ and then let God handle it, because we can't take it all. I hope I've answered your question in a certain way, at least basically.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Thank you very much. I have the next question. As a leader, are you expected to be able to handle stress? Because when you look both in the corporate world, I see that mostly CEOs and top managers are paid just because they are able to just manage the stress, or they are able to handle the stress. They don't break under the pressure of the stress. And then even in the Bible, we see leaders like Moses who were even stressed so much because of the people they were leading. So, is your ability to manage stress a measure of how your leadership skill is? Can you say anything in that respect?
Yes, yes. For a leader, you must be what we call emotionally intelligent. Emotional intelligence means that you must be aware of your own emotions, aware of other people's emotions, be able to manage yours, manage your own to get the job done. So leadership also demands that you have these abilities. Your communication skills, your listening skills, your empathetic skills, all should be top-notch. But like I said, even as psychologists, we also get down, and we call it trashing. You have to look for a place or somebody else you can also confide in to trash some of the things on the inside of you. You have to look for ways to deal with the stress. One way I deal with the stress, I have been a mother, a student, a worker all my life. All these three areas are stressful. Sometimes I've done it alone. So one of the ways I handle a lot of this stress is worship. Worship. I go into worship and I get lost. By the time I am out of the worship and prayer, I move out like with boldness, like some kind of, and I'm not lying, some kind of power comes in me again. So everybody find your way. Somebody will say they go and sit by the seaside. Somebody will go and walk in the woods. Somebody will run. For example, yesterday I had to go on the treadmill and you are just choking. By the time you finish, you've released some of that moment you are on, you are not thinking about certain things. So you always have to find your best way of dealing with it. And as a leader, if you find it, you'll be an effective leader. I know a pastor who says from morning to about 11, he doesn't talk to any human being. He stays in and prays first. Because when the calls start coming, it's a lot of pressure. All right. So and I've learned that lesson from that leader.
Yeah, we're still waiting for your questions. We have only a few minutes to end this wonderful session. So if you have any question, please come ahead with your question. Right, I have my own question too. There are times that when some people are stressed, they tend to break things. They tend to destroy things at home. They tend to tear things apart. They are not just able to. They become so agitated that they begin to shiver. You made some few recommendations, but can you reiterate again? In such cases, what would be the best solution for such a person?
Those are people who defense mechanisms. Okay, so it's a crossover. Some will displace it on a chair, kick this. Some will displace it on a spouse, do this. It means that you have not found effective ways of managing your stress. It means that you, the person, you have not found an effective way, because anytime the stress becomes a crossover, a spillover, and it's a negative spillover, you are handling the stress the wrong way. Anytime it becomes a conflict, that means affecting your life, affecting the lives of those around you, affecting your family, affecting your work, it means you are not managing the stress well. Find out what to do. If it is anger, annoyance, somebody is annoying. There was a time in my life that I didn't even know that I was, and one thing I want to mention here, yes, before we finish, is unforgiveness. Especially with couples. There was a time in my life that I realized that I was having a certain tone of voice with one particular person anytime I spoke, without knowing that there was an underlying unforgiveness in me. So when you meet the person, you're already annoyed. So there's a reason why the Bible, the fruits of the Spirit, patience, love, there's a reason why the Bible also says that forgiveness is key. Spouses, couples, is very important. Sometimes what you are doing in the house may not be from work. It may be that you are even annoyed with the couple, your spouse. And so that stress that is carried from work comes home and you carry it, and it becomes like fire because of unforgiveness. So to deal with these things, forgiveness is key. Forget it as soon as it happens. Work at forgiving. Then it can help a little bit.
Mrs. Boama wants to ask a question. Mrs. Yvonne Boama, please go ahead with your question.
Hello, everyone. I came late, so I didn't get most of the things that was said. Pardon me for that. But I have a question. Like sometimes personally, I feel so overwhelmed, and then I begin to cry. Now, when you ask me what exactly it is, I will not be able to tell you, but my mind goes wild. I think about the world. I think about the future. I think about my life. I think about everything going on. And I don't know. I begin to cry. And I'm a believer. I trust God. I know that, Christ is the center of everything. So sometimes I don't know whether it's a stress or what.
It's okay to cry, but another thing I want to ask you: do you have social support? Because sometimes when you can't handle it alone, there must be somebody. If you are getting loud now, one thing we should avoid is when you get to the stage of stress and you are crying and you have this idea, shut everybody off, don't talk to this friend, and the devil wants to put you in the dark spot. That is a state of depression. You don't want to go there. The moment you get to that stage of sadness where you want to cut everybody off, you are entering into a bad state. Don't go there. Because that's the state rather where you need social support. You need a spouse, you need a friend near you. It's okay to cry. Sometimes the crying helps you to deal with what is bottled up on the inside of you. But if you are crying most of the time, it's not a nice place to be in. It's not a nice place. So the first thing we talked about was to find out what is stressing you. What is it that is making you cry? Is it the fear of tomorrow? Is it things that we are what we call unrealistic anxiety? Sometimes the thing is real and makes you anxious. It's okay. But where it is not real and you are imagining things that are yet to come and it's making you frightened, then really you are in a bad state. I don't want to use the word bad, but let me use it so that it wakes you up and say that, no, I have to work at managing and handling this thing. I can't be here. So that you find out and get social support and move on. Get counseling and move on. Get social support and move on. And find out how you can deal with it. It's very important. You shouldn't be teary all the time. The happiness hormones must work and they must come up on the inside of you. It's very, very important. The joy of the Lord is our strength. And sometimes I say the joy that passes the understanding of human beings, the joy that passes the understanding of what is going in the world, is what we need at this time. You lift your eyes above the troubles in the land, and just say that He has done good. Because otherwise, happy yourself. Very important. Not by drinking wine, but you have to find out what you do to happy yourself. I know somebody who says when they feel sad, that's when they go and get some cake to eat. It's their own way of making themselves happy. So I like when I like dark chocolate. So sometimes I reward myself with dark chocolate, 70% or 80% with some fruits inside. Then I am back on track. So have I answered your question?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mrs. Mercy D'Souza. In fact, this is more than a lot. We've really learned a lot tonight, and I'm so glad you